If you're trying to break into the tech industry in 2026, whether it's for the good money, the freedom, the remote lifestyle to work from anywhere, whether you're trying to get in as a software engineer or into tech sales, and if you have no experience at all, this video is absolutely for you. I'm not gonna talk about boot camps or paid online courses. I'm gonna break it down into a 5-step framework that I use to break into the tech industry myself. And it's the same steps that I've actually used to help other people also break into the tech industry with no experience. Welcome to the channel. My name is Sean. I broke into the tech industry 4 years ago, no experience at all. I got promoted to a senior after 1 year. And then throughout the next 4 years, I grew my income to over 200K a year. So this is not coming from a far removed position. It's coming from someone who also had no experience at all in tech, no skills that were really worth hiring for. And yet I found a way in the door. So let's jump right into it. All right, step number 1. Think about a tech industry that you might know a little bit about. So hear me out. Technology is everywhere, right? So pick an industry that you might already know a little bit about. For example, if you've been a barista in a cafe or in a restaurant as a server, you can pick food and beverage POS systems. There's a lot of tech companies that are servicing cafes and restaurants. If you've been a construction worker, pick construction tech companies. If you're a nurse or you work in healthcare, you can pick healthcare tech companies. There is tech everywhere employing tons of people in so many different industries. So if you pick one that you know a little bit about, even if you don't have a ton of experience, it's gonna give you a leg up because these tech companies also wanna target businesses in that market. So if you understand that market, you've worked in that market, even if it's not at all to do with tech, it's gonna be something relevant that you can bring with you with that application. This is where AI and ChatGPT can come in handy. AI can help you for research, so it can come up with a list of companies that you can then apply to. So you wanna pick like 3 to 5 of those. And also AI can help you figure out what their values are, what their mission statement is, what are their goals, what are they trying to achieve? And then you wanna tailor, of course, your cover letter and resume to have the same language as those tech companies. So we're not applying to like 50 companies. We're picking 3 to 5 that are in an industry that you might know a little bit about already. And again, we're actually not gonna apply just yet, so just stay with me. I'll explain the application process in a second. Tip number 2, you know how they all say it's all about who you know? Well, if you know anyone in tech, that is like a great shortcut. Definitely go talk to people who you might know in tech who can refer you in. But let's pretend you don't know anyone at all. It's totally fine. Don't actually apply first to the companies. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but we're gonna talk to people first. And here's how you do it. You go to LinkedIn. Let's say we've picked 3 to 5 tech companies that are a really good fit for us, you know, in an industry that you might know a little bit about. For each of those tech companies, pick a handful of people that are in low to mid levels, not like hiring managers, people in roles that you would like to do yourself. And you're just gonna ask them on LinkedIn how they find their role, or, hey, I'd love to hear how you got into that position. I'm really fascinated by what you're doing at this company. People love to talk about themselves. People love coaching. It feels really good to coach and share knowledge. So you don't really have to sell yourself. You just want to ask questions and get them talking about their experience. And the goal with this is you're building rapport over, weeks, months at a time. And then when a position does open 1 month, 2, 3 months later, now you have a few people that you've developed rapport with. And you can reach back out and say something like, hey, I saw you're hiring for XYZ role. Do you know who I should speak to about that? Or you can even be as bold and say, hey, would you mind giving me a referral application for this role? I saw you're hiring and I think I'd be a great fit. And if you've already created a bit of rapport with people, they're gonna wanna help you. And you can ask them along the way some really great questions that makes you seem, and look professional. Because we are professional, right? But they're definitely gonna wanna help you out. So that's a great way to kind of build connections ahead of time for those targeted companies and talk to as many people as you can. We call this multi-threading in the sales world, where you're having conversations with multiple people, you're making noise about yourself, not in like a cheesy salesy way, like hire me, I'm so great, but really you're just sharing insights, you're asking how their role is, you're commenting on, posts that they've had. All that stuff is great. So that way you can start to know people even if you didn't know anyone before. All right, tip number 3 is make some noise, be annoying, and definitely don't take no for an answer. I once knew a guy that applied to a company 10 times in a row within a 5-month period. and eventually they hired him. So when a tech company is hiring, you're gonna wanna be annoying. This is where your sales acumen comes out. You're trying to sell yourself, right? So you're talking to those people on LinkedIn. If they have an email, a phone number, email them, call them. If they have an office in your city or in a city close by, go to that office and knock on the door and just ask to talk to people. Say, you saw that they were hiring, you'd love to learn a little bit more about what they're looking for. Anything that's gonna make you stand out is a great thing to do, as long as you're not being rude or disrespectful, as long as you're maintaining professional acumen, right? A friend of mine got into a big tech company because she knocked on the door of a big office in San Diego, and none other than the CEO answered the door because he was commuting first thing in the morning. They had a great chat right then and there, and he hired her on the spot because she showed initiative. She showed that she was able to stand out from other people, and she was curious to learn more about the company and what they were looking for in this new hire. And the CEO loved that because she obviously stood out from all these people and papers and resumes. So that's a great strategy. You want to make noise, don't take no for an answer. And of course, you want to be asking intelligent questions because you want to create this equal business stature where you don't seem too desperate or you don't seem like you're a floor scratcher. That's what my wife says. So you can ChatGPT some great questions to ask tech companies when you're in an application process. You want to seem like you're a hot commodity, even if you have no experience. You're trying to vet them as much as they're vetting you. You want to seem like you're trying to figure out who you should work for and where you should bring your skills to. And that's really important because it shows that you're a professional person. It shows that you understand them. You're curious as to where they're trying to grow, what they're trying to accomplish by hiring this new role. So you want to ask those questions. You don't want to just sit there and be quiet the whole time. You want to seem like you're thirsty for knowledge and you're curious. You want to learn more about them. All right, step number 4, and don't hate me for this one. It's a really good tip. Some of you might not like it. You don't have to start in the tech industry. Another great way to step into tech is actually to apply for smaller agencies that partner and work with tech companies. For example, I had no experience at all. This is how I actually stepped into the tech industry. I applied to a local agency that had like 5 to 10 employees, and they were partnered with HubSpot CRM. They were a HubSpot reseller. HubSpot is a software company. And I worked for this small little agency in my town. And the advantage is that the barrier to entry is way lower. They're not attracting a global audience. And the pay is also a bit lower, but that's okay because there's less competition to get in and start gaining some skills. And when I got into that company, there was an office that I could go talk to in person, a phone number that I could actually call and said, hey, I saw you're hiring, I'd love to learn more. There was way less competition to get in. And then I started learning what a CRM tool even is, what tools they were using. We had a HubSpot rep guy who was working with us day to day. And through him, I made some other connections as well. And it's a great stepping stone. And I only had to work at that agency for like 5 months, six months. And then I learned enough skills to then step into a bigger tech brand from there. I understand people do boot camps and paid online courses and all this stuff. I think this is a better route because you can get paid money and you're actually gaining real world experience that can just transfer directly into working a tech job. I had no experience working on a computer. I didn't even know what systems or what a CRM even was. And within 5 months, I knew all the lingo. I knew how to work everything. And the barrier to entry was very low to get into a small agency or startup in my town. I understand it's not the most conventional way in, but it's a really easy way with way less competition to gain some skills to then bounce into the tech industry. All right, so that brings us to tip number 5. This is our last tip. I really like this one. I also think it's way underestimated, and it often has a huge impact whether you get hired or not. Tip number 5 is be yourself and be open to learning new things. So what do I mean by this? If you have no experience, the next best thing you can have is passion and energy to learn new things and to show that you're excited to make a contribution to the growth of this company. Because remember, it's not really about you, it's not about us. It's about the company and how you can contribute. And at the end of the day, they're hiring humans. They're not hiring a resume or papers. So if you've got 2 people, think about it. I've been a part of some hiring processes, and I will tell you right now, if there's one person with 5 years experience, but they seem a bit, like they're monologuing, they're stuck in their ways, they seem like they're very fixated on, how they've been doing things for 5 years. And then you've got another person who has no experience, but if that person has passion, energy, if they're open to learning things, if they're asking questions and they're very curious about the company, that is powerful. It shows that they're not just stuck about themselves, but they're actually curious about the company and how they can contribute. And it shows that they're open to learning new things. They're listening, they're absorbing information, and that goes such a long way. Of course, you still want to dress well and have good manners and be respectful, but don't get stuck in this box of corporate life or whatever, you know what I mean? Tech companies are very progressive, so let your true personality shine, show your true energy, because they're gonna hire you for who you are and the energy you bring to the company. And often the experience is not as important as you think. So I hope that makes sense. And if you're not the most expressive person, that is totally okay. The other way you can get around this is just by asking some really great questions. And use ChatGPT or research ahead of time. What are some great questions to ask, whether you're in an interview or whether you're just talking to people on LinkedIn? That's a great way of showing that you've got great energy. You're like a sponge. You want to learn more about their company. And that's going to go a long way, because you're going to hear what the answers are, and then you'll be able to understand a little bit more and then ask more engaging questions from there. And that is powerful stuff. So don't underestimate the power of being curious, being open-minded, and just let your true personality shine. All right, I have a bonus step actually that I want to talk about right now, which is if you don't have a lot of technical experience, a really good role to focus on is sales, because sales doesn't need a lot of technical experience. They often hire a ton of people and there's a lot of turnover, and you can actually use sales to get into tech. And then after 6 months or even a year, you can branch into another department if that's where you really want to go. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to write them down below. I'm happy to also help out and give some other tips where I can. And if you're curious to see more videos like this, please feel free to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.